Hello, everybody, and welcome into today's episode of Around the Slice. I know it is the day of the game, and this is kind of a last minute day of the game preview, but I've had a really busy schedule, especially with the very quick turnaround of Bills at Dolphins Thursday Night Football. But anyway, I am here to preview that Bills at Dolphins Thursday Night Football game. So let's get into it. So for the broadcast information, how you can tune in and watch it, it is tonight. So Thursday, September 12th. Thursday, September 12th at 8:15 p.m. on Amazon Prime Video. That's how you can watch it. At Hard Rock Stadium, the Dolphin Stadium in Miami, Florida. Let's just after the broadcast information, let's just get into it. I have my 6 keys total. So 3 keys for the Bills offense, and 3 keys to the game for the Bills defense if they want to win. Again, like always, not in any particular order. And also, as always, I would love to hear from you down in the comments below. Any keys you might have, any talking points you agree with, any talking points of mine you disagree with. We can have that nice discourse down there and kind of go back and forth if you'd like. So my 3 keys to the Bills offense: take advantage of Dolphins' weak run defense. This is a pretty straightforward point, but take advantage of Dolphins' weak run defense. That's a mouthful to say. But back to the point I was saying, Osiris Torrance and that. So the interior offense line is going to have to make lanes for James Cook, who I want to see 20 to 25 touches between rushing and receiving combined. And I want to see an uptick for Ray Davis. I know he had only 4 touches last week, 3 rushes and 1 reception. It didn't go for much, maybe 13 yards, I think it was. Ty Johnson, though, was dealing with a knee injury. It looks like he will be playing through it, but I could see, maybe we don't see Ty Johnson at all and see not some huge uptick, but a bit of an uptick in touches for Ray Davis. Like I said, I want James Cook to consistently get 20 to 25 rushes this season as that bell cow workhorse, if you will. And then as an ancillary secondary piece, the clear RB2, I want to see Ray Davis get 8 to 10 touches. That would be what's on the top of my mind. But I say take advantage of Dolphins' weak run defense because they lost Christian Wilkins and the other nose tackles and defensive tackles there are kind of like below average to average at best. Like Zach Sealer, they have him on a really good contract and he's a really underrated player in a lot of people's minds, including myself, in my mind too. But other than that, it's like Benito Jones, like Neville Gallimore is supposed to be something there, and they even hang on to him, like Jonathan Harris, these old veterans, like I said, below average to average at best. It's just Zach Sealer and a whole bunch of nothing there. So Osiris Torrance is gonna have to have a big bounce back game. I'm just gonna put it bluntly, like to be honest with you guys, like he had a 35.1 PFF grade. That is just abysmal. Like you need to bounce back from that in a big way. And Osiris Torrance is known as a people mover, makes lanes, a people mover in the run game. He excels at displacement and displacing defensive tackles, whoever lines up against him. So Osiris Torrance at right guard, Connor McGovern at center, Dave Edwards at left guard. They're going to have to really, really create some displacement in the run game. And Connor McGovern and David Edwards, that's not their strength. They're most pass pro guys, but Osiris Torrance excels in run protect in creating rush lanes and, like I said, a people mover and displacing movement. So I would love to see James Cook kind of eat in this game, if you will, and Ray Davis have an uptick in touches because I don't know if we'll see Ty Johnson at all. He is playing through a knee injury, though. He's limited at practice all week, but again, he is playing through it. Next key for the Bills defense if they want to win. Bills offense, I should say, rather, if they want to win this game. Get Dalton Kincaid involved early and often. I don't know what was up last week. I don't know what was going on last week. I didn't think Joe Brady's play calling was excellent or anything, especially with the Josh Allen design runs from the 1 yard line, the QB sneaks, and especially his first half play calling was kind of with only 5 first half pass attempts for Josh Allen. But I mean, you've got to scheme Dalton Kincaid the ball, and he said after the game, the Cardinals defense clearly was keying on Dalton Kincaid, and they held up clearly because they only held him to 1 catch for 11 yards. That's the Cardinals defense. I don't care if they key on him or not. They're abysmal. Other than the safeties, Buda Baker and Jalen Thompson. And the Dolphins defense has lost a lot too. Like I just said, they lost Christian Wilkins. They cut Xavier Howard. They brought back Emmanuel Ogbah, but he's nowhere near the player he once was. They have Jalen Ramsey, who I thought was a little overrated. And then the linebackers, who will be Dalton Kincaid can create a mismatch because they have Jordan Brooks in his first year in Miami with the Dolphins, coming over from 4 years with the Seahawks. He's a good tackler, but he leaves a lot to be desired in coverage. Then David Long Jr., he's pretty good in coverage, but he's playing through injuries. So I think Dalton Kincaid can take a mismatch, and I'm looking for 5-6 receptions at least from Dalton Kincaid. I need him to get going early and often because I love this spread the ball around approach, but we can't have Dalton Kincaid only going for 1 catch and 11 yards. He needs 4 or 5, maybe even 6 catches on a week-to-week basis. I don't know. Like I said last week in my a few days ago in my recap, I don't know if there's going to be a receiver that cracks the 1,000-yard mark. If they do, it'll be barely. But Dalton Kincaid, I think, will be in that 950 to 980 range, barely miss it if he does. And then Khalil Shakir be 900 to 950. And then, like I explained a few days ago, guys like Coleman, Curtis Samuel, and stuff like that, and will be in that 600 to 700, maybe 750 range for Coleman. And Matt Collins and MVS can fit in when needed. Even though I'm not the biggest MVS fan, but you got to get Donkey going early and often. 1 catch for 11 yards is inexcusable, especially against these linebackers. These guys aren't really matchup linebackers. And like I said, their one matchup linebacker is a clear mismatch because he's in David Long Jr., who's their lone matchup linebacker. Like I just said, is a clear mismatch for Dalton Kincaid because he's playing through injury. So how explosive will he be right out of the gate is my kind of sentiment there. And then just have long sustained drives. The Bills kind of key in on this. Over the last couple of years, obviously early in Josh Allen's career, 2018 and 2021, they've had these big explosive plays, especially when Stephon Diggs, when the culture was right, when he wasn't being all, put it bluntly, pissy and stuff like Stephon Diggs was the last couple of years of Buffalo for no reason at all. If I start going on a tangent, but hopefully you get my point. They had deep bombs everywhere, especially when Ken Dorsey was calling a Madden playbook, 4 verts, tight end attack. And now under Joe Brady, it's a bit more methodical. It's a bit slowed down. You have short completions to underneath guys like Curtis Samuel. Got to get Dalton Kincaid going. Ray Davis is a nice scat back plus more out of the backfield. James Cook utilized the running game even more and treat him like a workhouse bell cow, however you want to term it and look at it. And then you have deep targets when you do want to go 2 or 3 times a game to Keon Coleman, Matt Collins. So really, the Bills can attack you at all levels of the field. They can run screens with Curtis Samuel, James Cook, and Ray Davis. They can pound the ball with James Cook and Ray Davis. They have intermediate middle of the field targets in Dalton Kincaid and Curtis Samuel. And then they have deep targets in Matt Collins, MVS for 1 or 2 bombs a game, I guess. And Keon Coleman is that true X receiver who actually last week led the Bills in every stat imaginable that we care about: targets, yards, and receptions. Targets, receptions, yards in that order, respectively. Let's just say rather. So yeah, I think you could attack all levels of the field, but have long sustained drives because the Dolphins, they're kind of not built to sustain long drives. So when you use James Cook and create displacement in the running game with especially Osiris Torrance, Connor McGovern, and David Edwards, when you have the uptick for Dalton Kincaid and Ray Davis, when you can create mismatches with Dalton Kincaid against really injured linebackers and not very good matchup linebackers with the Dolphins, take advantage of that. Maybe throw in 2-3 deep bombs game at most in there. Go to Keon Coleman or Matt Collins. Maybe surprise them with MVS here and there, but have long sustained drives. And I'm not saying this because you know how people say when they're playing the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes or the Bills and Josh Allen, they say the way you beat Josh Allen, the way you beat Patrick Mahomes, keep them off the field, have long sustained drives. I'm not saying have long sustained drives because you need to keep Tua off the field. That's not something I'm ever going to say. No shade to Tua, but well, maybe a little, but Tua's not a quarterback that you need to game plan for. You need to game plan for Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill and some of their ancillary weapons with the running backs, which we'll get to on the defensive keys to the game for the Bills. But you don't need to ever say keep Tua off the field for blah, blah, blah. I'm just saying they have tons of speed on offense. So if you can limit the Dolphins' opportunities to use that speed by having long, sustained drives, 5, 6, maybe even 7-minute drives, that is very, very good Double-digit play drives is the name of the game if you want to prevent the Dolphins from using that speed. They can't use speed on offense if they're sitting on the sideline the whole game. So, yeah. Keys for Bills defense. Again, in no particular order, three off that are burning on the top of my mind. Prevent Miami from getting big, explosive plays. This kind of plays into the offense side of the ball where I want the Bills to have long, sustained drives. But when maybe you do have short drives, unfortunately, you have to punt, field goal, God forbid Josh has turnover, whatever. Limit Miami's big plays on offense. And I'm not really. Well, let me preface it with this. Miami, Tua, Mike McDaniel, Jalen Waddle, Tyreek, everyone involved. They're all speed demons. Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Jonnu Smith, Devine Achane, Raheem Mostert is not playing. But we'll get to injury reports end before we leave this episode for today. Miami wants to beat you over the top. They want to beat you with big explosive plays. They want to beat you with the speed demons that they have on the outside and in the slot. They want to beat you over the top. There's just the truth of the matter. They don't want to have long, sustained, slow, grinded out drives. That's not Miami's style. A lot of teams are like that, but that's not Miami's style. There's this big play, explosive play, flashy offense. Just want to beat you over the top and get the ball downfield to their speedsters and make them work after the catch and score touchdowns every 2 seconds. They don't want to, hopefully you get my point. They don't want to slow the game down. They don't want to shrink the game. They don't want to grind it out. They don't want to have to rely on the running game too heavily. They want to beat you over the top with explosive plays. In the Bills, thankfully, under Sean McDermott as a defensive guru, their defense is built to limit big explosive plays. Like, you're not going to beat us over the top, so you're going to have to beat us. You're going to have to grind it out and beat us with short dink and dunk plays. Maybe it was a little more, but you're going to have to play shrink. I don't know how to word this, but you're going to have to shrink the game down and grind it out. And the Dolphins don't want to do that. They're a big, high-powered, flashy offense. Mike McDaniel, offensive genius. They don't want to do that. They want to have big explosive plays. And when Miami's forced to grind it out, I don't think they can win very much. I mean, they've shown that when they have to grind it out, pound the ball and stuff, like when they're trailing, they kind of falter. And like if Tua can't hit his reads downfield with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle and Devine Achane, like kind of struggles, if I'm being honest. I know he does. I've seen him multiple times against the Bills and other high-powered defenses and teams. So Bills offense is it's gonna make that. You need to make them shrink the game. I'm trying to describe this the best way possible. You need to make them grind it out. Like they want to beat you over the top. So prevent them from beating you over the top. Thankfully, that's how McDermott has built this defense. That's how the defense has always been and is and will continue to be structured for hopefully years to come. So make them grind it out. Make them uncomfortable. Make it Mike McDaniel call a game that he doesn't want to call, if that makes sense. Next, the defensive line needs to get pressure on this pretty poor Dolphins offensive line. Let me just lay out the Dolphins offensive line for you. At left tackle, they have Tron Armstead. He's good. He's a Grizzlies veteran. He's kind of alluded to it, whatever you want to call it, that this is probably his last year in the league, which, okay, because he never practices during the week. He's always injured. So left tackle, Tron Armstead. Left guard, Robert Jones. Center, Aaron Brewer. Right guard, Liam Eichenberg. And right tackle, Austin Jackson. I like Austin Jackson a lot. How I currently look at Spencer Brown. Austin Jackson struggled his first 2 years in the league, and then third year he broke out and got that big contract at $10 million per year. And now he's the franchise right tackle. Same thing with Spencer Brown. Struggled first 2 years in the league, and he broke out last year in 2023. And now he got that $18 million a year contract. A bit overpaid, but I mean, it is what it is. But this interior offense line is where we can really, really, really take advantage, I feel like. At left guard, the middle three. At left guard, you have Robert Jones, who has never been a preferred starter. He's only starting because Isaiah Wynn was to start at left guard, but the Dolphins placed him on IR and cut down day, or around there, give or take. So he has to miss the first 4 games of the season. So Robert Jones would be the 6th offensive lineman and his direct backup, maybe competition for him to start, but probably not. So Robert Jones has always been a key reserve in his career, but never a full-time preferred starter. And center, Aaron Brewer, really athletic, really built on speed, really athletic center, but there's no displacement with him. Like, he's not going to move guys like Ed Oliver and Daquan Jones. Like, they should be able to overpower him pretty easily. So Aaron Brewer is built on speed and athleticism, no power whatsoever. And then right guard Liam Eichenberg, who I just like is a hodgepodge right guard. I feel like he was drafted. Let's see here. He was drafted as a tackle, failure there. And then they moved him to center, failure there. Then they moved him to guard, where he currently is, failure there. So like at all three spots, he's just not an NFL caliber player. And like he's a 7th or 8th best offensive lineman at best, and he's starting because of all the injuries they've had with Isaiah Wynn, and they lost to Robert Hunt. So the only one I guess I like is Aaron Brewer. But again, he's built in speed and athleticism. So Ed Oliver and Daquan Jones, and maybe if Greg Rousseau reduces inside, that could really, really help us. So you need to get pressure on Tua, because when he's under pressure, when his third read isn't there, when his second read isn't there, he's not going to take off like Kyler Murray did last week. Tua is not very athletic. I'm not going to say he has zero mobility. Sometimes he sneaks out of the pocket, but like it's not nowhere near Kyler Murray last week, who gassed us in the ground in the run game. But like this offensive line is not creating displacement like I feel like the Bills' middle three interior offensive line can create. So Ed Oliver, Daquan Jones, Greg Rousseau, they all got to get in the party, if you will. They all got to create rush lanes, because when Tua is under pressure, then, well, he kind of folds, to be honest, to be brutally honest. And then this kind of goes hand in hand with my last point we just talked about a few seconds ago. My third and final key for the Bills' defense. Again, if you have more, jump down in the comments below on YouTube. Third and final key, force turnovers. I'm looking for 1, maybe even 2 turnovers in this game. If you can, the Bills seemingly have mastered with their speed and length and athleticism and just like length in general and getting their big bear paws up there, if you will. They've mastered tipping passes at the line. Like AJ Epinesa is a master at tipping passes at the line. Daquan Jones even did it last week. Ed Oliver, big bounce back. Greg Rousseau, Groot. Hopefully he can do it. When you tip passes at the line, that forces guys at the second level. That gives guys at the second level like Terrell Bernard, Jordan Williams, and not really, but Terrell Bernard mainly to intercept it, hopefully. Or if you get pressure on Tua and he's hit as he throws it, Christian Benford, Rasul Douglas, those safeties back there, and DeMar Hamlin and Taylor Rapp, to be effective and get their hands on the ball. So I'm looking for 1, maybe even 2 turnovers for the Bills to force on Tua tonight. So it goes hand in hand. Get pressure, especially with that middle 3 interior offensive line of the Dolphins. It's pretty abysmal. And kind of go to work with tipping passes at the line if you can't intercept, if you can't sack him, or hit him as he throws it to force turnovers. So yeah. Next, players of the game predictions. On offense, I'm going to go with Dalton Kincaid. You need to get him going. Like 1 catch for 11 yards is unacceptable. He needs to have 5 or 6 catches, like minimum at least, on a week in and week out basis. So, and then defense, Greg Rousseau. So I do have 2 of my 5 actual game predictions related to Dalton Kincaid and Greg Rousseau in a minute here, but that's all I'm going to say about that without spoiling the whole thing. But like Greg Rousseau, like maybe match him up against like Tron Armstead on the left side. Maybe AJ Epinesa and Von Miller split again. I loved how they used Von Miller last week. I explained it like that's the perfect role, a situational pass rusher, limit his snaps like you did with Leonard Floyd last year. I thought they used him perfectly. He even got a sack in there. So, and maybe match up Greg Rousseau inside, and Ed Oliver can reduce outside. Like if you have a defense line, let's just like hypothetically like left defensive end is Von Miller, and then your defensive tackles are like Daquan Jones and Greg Rousseau reduces to the middle, and then Ed Oliver on the edge, and then you have depth guys like Austin Johnson, Dwayne Carter, who I'm looking to get a lot more snaps this week. Like you can, and then AJ Epinesa, you can really create mismatches. So offense play of game prediction, Dalton Kincaid, and defense play of the game prediction, Greg Rousseau. Like Greg Rousseau just won AFC Defense Player of the Week with 3 sacks and a forced fumble, like 4 splash plays, 3 sacks and forced fumble. That's really good. Next, 5 game predictions. These are underdog fantasy player props and picks. I don't do this. Like I could bet, but like I just don't get into that. But I took a peek at it to see what props I want to hammer home for you guys. Josh Allen over 286.5 total yards. Like this is like honestly, I feel very confident about this. In his career against the Miami Dolphins, I knew this stat coming in, but I just referenced it again yesterday on Twitter, courtesy of Sal Capaccio. Does great work, by the way, for WJR 550. Josh Allen has 41 total touchdowns and only 13 turnovers, fumbles, and interceptions. 41 total touchdowns and only 13 turnovers against the Dolphins. That is just absurd. So I think between passing and rushing, I think this will be an aerial assault. I think this will be assault on the ground between James Cook, Ray Davis, and Josh Allen. Over 286.5 passing yards. Now, I don't know how much he'll beat that by. Sorry, I don't know how much they'll beat that by. Maybe he gets I think he could push for 350 total yards. Like, this is the Dolphins. I'm not saying Dolphins defense is trash, but they lost a ton of pieces that no one's really talking about. And they have a first-year defensive coordinator, Anthony Weaver, who was the defensive line coach in Baltimore. That defensive staff got plucked, most notably Mike McDonald going to the Seahawks as their head coach. But that's besides the point. Getting back on track here, I really am looking for Josh Allen to have a blow-up game. And I understand you're going to be worried about the hand. His left hand, there was, immediately after the game, the day after the game on Monday, the game of Sunday, and on Monday said, Sean McDermott said Josh Allen has been cleared for practice this whole week. He was never limited. He was a full go every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And he's cleared for the game. I don't think he'll have any limitations. The adrenaline will be thrown in this game. That is a thing. You can play when you have high adrenaline, and it will be. This is a night game in Miami, and it helps. This is Miami, so maybe it'll still be 80, 85 degrees, 90, somewhere in there, but it won't be scorching where you're going to die of heat. 110 degrees on the field for the players. And if you got IV bags every 2 seconds, and you're one snap away from Reggie Gilliam having to play left guard, that was brutal 2 years ago, but besides the point, I think Josh Allen will be just fine with, not just fine, but I don't think he'll have any severe limitations. Now, he might have trouble handling a snap or two here and there, but maybe McDermott and mainly Joe Brady's the offensive coordinator, put him in shotgun, kind of back him up a little so he can handle the snap more easily. What's the term I want to use? Handle that more cleanly. There you go. That's what I'm trying to say. Handle snap more cleanly, maybe, because he's typically under center a lot, and I know he's elite under center. He's elite everything, but under center, he's just a machine. But maybe he lines up a shotgun and you utilize play action more. He's also a monster play action. So, yeah, I know he'll probably be wrapped with his left hand, but you still need both hands to handle the snap. I know he throws right-handed QB too as a left-handed QB for comparison, but right-handed QB for Josh Allen. So I just think over 286.5 passing yards, total yards between passing and rushing. Next, Dalton Kincaid over 44.5 receiving yards. This is the Dalton Kincaid prop. I think to get there, you need 5 or 6 receptions, and get him going in the middle of the field. Don't have some low ADOT thing where you did with him last year. That's my one, I don't want to call it a complaint or issue, but one, pretty big gripe, if you will, with Joe Brady. He never really got Dalton Kincaid going downfield. He provides really good run after catch, but use him in the middle of the field. Use him 15, 20 yards down the field. Don't have this low ADOT. Don't throw a tight end screen to him and expect him to do after the catch. He can do that, but use him 15 to 20 yards. Use him 15 to 20 yards down the field. That's what I'm looking for. So Dalton Kincaid over 44.5 receiving yards, bounce it back in a big way from the freaking one catch for 11 yards reception. Now, 2 props for the other team I always like to do. I'm going to be realistic here. Tyreek Hill over 0.5 touchdowns. I think he's going to get 1, maybe even 2 touchdowns. Because when they're in the red zone, who do they go to? Tyreek Hill. I hope there's no coverage busts in this game. Like I said, the McDermott defense, ever since he's been here, going into year 8 under Sean McDermott. Wow. But then I realized that. Well, I did, but it doesn't seem that long. Tyreek Hill, 8 years. Tyreek Hill, I think, will get 1, maybe even 2 touchdowns. Next, they haven't, had any major coverage busts in years past under McDermott, but these safeties are still kind of shaky with Taylor Rapp and DeMar Hamlin. As much as I love DeMar Hamlin, Taylor Rapp, not my favorite. Devon Achane over 54.5 rushing yards. I think between him, Jalen Wright, and Jeff Wilson, they can get the job done against us, but this might not get hit because in the second half of games, Mike McDaniel, whether as a lead or not, he really kind of abandons the run game. I really don't know why. I'm not complaining against the freaking Dolphins and Mike McDaniel, but I don't know why. Raheem Mostert was ruled out pretty early in the week with a chest injury. He's out. Devon Achane, ankle injury. It looks like he's going to play through it the other day in practice. He didn't have a red non-contact jersey. He was officially listed as limited yesterday, but looks like he's going to be good to go. He's going to test it out pregame and push through it and go. Look out for Jalen Wright and Jeff Wilson have a bigger role than we might anticipate. But I think Devon Achane gets over 54.5 rushing yards. Just Mike McDaniel sticks to his game plan, which He's kind of questionable. But next, Greg Rousseau has at least 2 sacks. I think he could be in line for AFC Defensive Player of the Week again for the second week in a row if he does this. Line him up outside. Line him up inside against the interior tandem, which I'll remind you again. At left guard, Robert Jones, never a preferred starter in his career. At center, Aaron Brewer, built on speed and athleticism, no power whatsoever there. And at right guard, Lee Meichenberg, whether he's played tackle, center, or guard, he's just been a failure in the NFL at all 3 spots. Pretty abysmal interior offensive line there. So reduce Greg Rousseau inside. Next, this isn't one of my fab predictions, it's just my score prediction. Bills win the game 33-20. I don't want to say when I see the Dolphins on the schedule, especially when we go to Miami, oh, we're gonna win because it's a primetime game and blah blah blah, and stakes are high. But like, I'm pretty confident like Josh Allen will always and forever dominate the Dolphins. So I think the Bills win the game 33-20. I think it's close to like the middle of the third quarter, and then they just pull away into when he has to play from behind. He's pretty abysmal. Next, projecting 5 inactive players versus the Dolphins. Obviously, you have to have 48 players active on game day out of your 53. 8 offensive linemen, 8 O-linemen, 8 offensive linemen are required to be active. But I think the Bills will go with 7 inactive players, just like they did last week. Unfortunately, we already know of 3 of them. A couple D linemen. Defensive end Javon Solomon is doubtful. And that's really kind of a crushing blow. Like, Javon Solomon, it's not a huge deal. He's a 5th-round pick rookie out of freaking Troy. But, like, with Casey Tuill being ineffective other than special teams, so Juwan Smoot being out these first couple weeks with a toe injury, this was Javon Solomon's opportunity to really capitalize and maybe sneakily get into that heavy rotation with the defensive lineman, because McDermott loves to rotate. Now Bobby Babbitt calling the defensive plays, as officially the defensive coordinator now this year, and hopefully years to come if he doesn't get poached for head coaching job. They love to rotate D linemen. It's just a shame Javon Solomon can't capitalize because he's doubtful with an oblique injury. And then Juwan Smoot, just alluded to a second ago, he's out with a toe injury. Tough, quick turnaround. The slot corner, Taron Johnson, is out with a forearm injury. I'm really nervous he broke his forearm, and that's usually 4 to 5 weeks and easily a stint on IR. So Cam Lewis will be the starting slot corner. I mean, that's just brutal. And if Cam Lewis gets injured, we're out of luck, because like that's not that pretty dire situation. It's already a dire situation with Taron Johnson out. I mean, he does everything. He covers running backs at elite level. He covers tight ends at elite level, slot receivers at elite level. He's asked to do everything. And then he's sometimes a hybrid linebacker / slot corner, even slot safety sometimes. So yeah, but 5 inactive. Other than that, we have 4 other inactive players. I think it's offensive tackle Tylen Grable. He can play left and right tackle, so he has that versatility. And last week he was active over Ryan Vandermark, who only plays left tackle really, but I think they want the experience. Primetime game in Miami at the Dolphins at Hard Rock Stadium in Miami, Florida. They want the experience with Ryan Vandermark. Same thing for Cedric Van Granger. I think there's a chance that Will Clapp can get elevated again, just because Alec Anderson's that jumbo tight end that they like to use. Is always a staple, whether it's a 6 insert offensive lineman to block or just a jumbo tight end and throw the defense off as an extra blocker. Not even a threat, but just extra blocker. So I think they'll go with experience, maybe elevating Will Clapp or just Alec Anderson in general over Cedric Van Granger. We're going to talk about Solomon Smoot. A couple linebackers here, Joe Andreessen and Eddie Ulofoshio. They're both rookies. Joe Andreessen, we know the story. Eddie Ulofoshio, 6th round pick, I think 7th round pick, 6th or 7th, I don't remember. Late day 3 pick is the point I'm trying to make. Again, I think Bills will. A bunch of their rookies will be inactive, healthy scratchers, however you want to look at it and term it tonight for this game. And then we had to talk about Taron. And last week, Cole Bishop was inactive because he was covering from an injury, but I think he's fully healthy now. The reason I have him active tonight is pretty clear. Cam Lewis is starting at slot corner for the injured Taron Johnson. I'm fearful it's a broken forearm. And then the third dime safety last week was Jamarcus Ingram. He's always played slot corner and even outside corner mostly. Never done safety or third dime safety. I think that third dime safety may be a little Jamarcus Ingram, but get Cole Bishop on the field. Him and Taylor Rapp play very similarly. So maybe if you're starting safeties or Taylor Rapp and DeMar Hamlin, maybe you do still want Jamarcus Ingram is that third dime safety, but maybe you don't want to expose him to injury out there because he's going to be the direct backup, I would assume, to Cam Lewis, the slot corner. So get Cole Bishop in there for a handful of plays as a third dime safety. Yes, Jamarcus Ingram played extremely well last week. He had that final pass breakup of the game. What was it? Greg Dortch or something? So, yeah, with Kyler Murray against the Cardinals last week. But I'm looking for him to be the direct slot corner backup, not expose him to injury with Jamarcus Ingram. So get Cole Bishop in there as that big third dime safety. He's kind of a downfield hammer. We have a lot of those in the safety room. We don't have a true center fielder other than Mike Edwards, but he's not getting on the field unless he's a starting safety, which he's clearly not. So Cole Bishop is up tonight, active, whatever you want to look, however you want to look at it. Yeah. So this is a really exciting game. Again, my apologies. It's the day of. It's not kind of last minute, but it's the day of the game. So quick turnaround here. The Thursday Night Football, though. Next, we have 11 days from now to the Jaguars. So, big break there. A lot of content there. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this. Some plugs here. You can follow me personally on Twitter at AYGunner13. You can follow the show on Twitter at Around Slice. You can, of course, watch or listen to this podcast on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your favorite podcasts. And last couple things. Number one, you can support me on Patreon for just $3 a month for some content. I'll be ramping up now NFL in-season content for just $3 a month. That is patreon.com/aroundtheslice. Exclusive content from nowhere else, just for you guys as patrons. Again, that is patreon.com/aroundtheslice. Pretty straightforward website there. And then lastly, I promise the last thing. Lastly, I'm at 25 subscribers. I know you can get me to 30 subscribers. I'm not putting a date on it. Just whenever we get there, we get there. No deadline, but I'm on the road to 30 subscribers. Just 5 more. I know you guys can do it. Thank you all so much for your support. This game is going to be great tonight. And just a reminder, I have the Bills winning. Before we get out of here, just a reminder, I have the Bills winning this game in Miami against the Dolphins. 33-20. This was a great preview episode. I will see you guys, tomorrow, being Friday, September 13th, for my recap and reaction and all sorts of takeaways. Anyways, see you then. Bye.